Ah, come, Nerevar, come and let us enjoy yet another merry day, rightfully despising the other lesser species of Tamriel. My favorite sermons, if I had to say, because that is what someone who doesn't honor the sixth house and the tribe unmourned deserves. We have already covered Khajiit, Argonian, Nords, and Redguards. So let's criticize the Bosmer today, why not? Number 1. Cannibalistic Rituals. The Bosmer and their little wild hunt circus, it's kind of their thing. Shape-shifting into a horde of ravenous werebeasts and feasting on the remains of enemies while at the service of the Hirsine. Such a refined spectacle. One can almost hear how they chew bones as they revel in their perfectly normal diet and display of uncivilized behavior. Mind you, for some it is not even necessary for the wild hunt to behave like this. Number 2. Lack of solidarity. Unity is for the weak, and a tool for leaders to exploit them. Yet for some reason the Bosmer have grasped this concept with astounding finesse, but not in the good sense. Nothing good ever comes from Valenwood. Why bother with alliances and cooperation when every forest dweller can fend for themselves? The admirable commitment to self-interest showcases a race with an impressive disregard for the trivial bonds that bind societies together. It's a miracle they even form part of the Altmeri Dominion more than once. Then again, I suppose the Altmer use beast tamers to deal with them. Number 3. Primitive cities. Look at their architectural marvels, Nerevar. Those tree huts and rustic hamlets, proof to a species that thrives in primitive simplicity. Who needs the advancements of civilized races when you can embrace the blissful ignorance of living in treetops? Truly, a choice to revel in the charm of underdevelopment. I will forever wonder how they fell so low and so hard after even having been the first proper race to reach the status of empire. Outside old Aldmeris, what a grand and intoxicating innocence. Number 4. Nature Fanatics. The Green Pact, the other one of their things, a covenant of primitive-minded people that restrains their progress as a civilization and further takes them down the road of becoming tree-loving monsters. Harming vegetation is a sin, after all. Forget about agricultural advancements or industrial growth. The Bosmer have willingly chosen to be bound by the shackles of an ancient pact no one cares about. Number 5. Short lifespan. Blink, and you'll miss them. The Bosmer, masters of brevity in life. While other races enjoy the luxury of longevity, the Bosmer have opted for a more disposable approach. Even the mongrel dogs of the Empire live longer than these merbeasts. One would think this is actually a positive thing, less turned beasts trying to eat other people's faces and all, but no, they reproduce faster than they die, even while killing each other. Guess their disgusting diet does keep a control on their numbers. The last thing we need is a horde of those things invading Tamriel. Number 6. Weakness to madness. Nerevar, can you imagine madness as a lifestyle choice? Because Sheogorath can, yet it isn't even him they worship. They don't even live in a plane of oblivion that'd make such a thing even remotely reasonable. They frequently engage in a ritual that provokes mental instability, not something I'd call rational decision-making. A race that willingly exposes themselves to insanity shouldn't even be considered civilized. This isn't even cultural shock at this point. But, well, it is fun to watch them go completely nuts. Do it at a safe distance, though. Number 7. Dubious Morality. Ah, morality, a mortal concept as flexible as the Bosmer's ethical principles. Why burden oneself with a consistent moral code when it's so much more convenient to adapt based on circumstance? Their ability to seamlessly dance between shades of right and wrong is truly a hallmark of moral ambiguity. Don't get me wrong here, Nerevar. While I do appreciate a good degree of pragmatism, these people just throw everything else off the window and make choices with consequences they certainly don't care about. Pragmatism without logic nor common sense is not a good combination in the least. Number 8. Dishonorable Fighters. Poisoned arrows and guerrilla tactics, the chosen methods of warfare for a race devoid of honor. While other more dignified races engage in straightforward combat, the Bosmer thrive in cunning and deceit. A species that embraces underhanded tactics as the cornerstone of their martial prowess deserves to be treated as such. Actually, it's not even an issue with what they use to fight. It is the fact that they only do that. I do like some good poisoned weapons and ambushes, but not for literally everything. It doesn't even make sense. Do they eat people who died from being poisoned? Yeah. No, a fireball at them is all I need. Or make it 2. Number 9, Xenophobic Isolationists. Valenwood should have signs of beware, wild animals ahead at their borders. The Bosmer's wariness of other cultures is not to be underestimated. To say they are reluctant to engage in any form of cultural exchange is an understatement. Not only are they extremely narrow-minded, but they also are not likely to put any form of trust on anyone else. Their rituals, their extreme fanaticism for nature and pretty much everything that makes them more similar to harpies and wild minotaurs, makes them unlikely to behave when interacting with others. I'm being honest here when I say I have no idea how the Altmer tamed these things. I am a god, and I can't even fathom the thought of dealing with them. Give me farm tools or even mongrel dogs any day before having me deal with a Bosmer. Number 10. Green Pact dependence. Remember the Green Pact I mentioned before? Yeah, well, it is also a religion of sorts. Worshipping nature in the weirdest way possible, because who needs autonomy and independent thoughts when you can willingly submit to the whims of an ancient pact with an imaginary nature deity? Let alone the fact that they worship Hercene with all that wild hunt nonsense, they also worship tree-hugging precepts, not even false gods at this point. And the punch of the joke is that this Green Pact thing is quite literally what Argonians are to the Heist. They are mindless fanatics who obey it. Even Argonian farm tools have a higher degree of autonomy than a Bosmer. You can't talk to them, can't interact with them other than fighting for your life, you can't eat with them, you can't step on a flower, or you risk having them turn into werebeasts and eat you. They are so flimsy, brainwashed, and live for such a short time, they aren't even useful as farm tools. But well, now you know, Nerevar, if you cross paths with a Bosmer, know that they all are like this even if they don't show it. Just don't get too close to their kitchen or hang out with them if there is a full moon or red moon. But don't you feel refreshed? Next week I'll talk about 10 reasons to hate Altmer. I'll have to refine them since I'm sure there are easily more than 10, but I can guarantee you'll love it. Until then, make sure to honor the 6th house and the tribe unmourned by raising your thumbs, subscribing to my sermons, and sharing your thoughts in the parchment below. I thank my Patreons for making this sermon possible. Special thanks to the adoring fan, Connor Runda, and this realm's Sharmat Tanya Davis. I do not claim ownership over any piece of art used, and all credit goes to their respective owners.
These nuts. Ha! Got him!